Welcome to the 2020 Chairman's Report. I would like to start with a trivia question. What is the significance of 1.21 gigawatts? Hint, think movies. I'll give you the answer in a minute. Last winter, my wife Sharon and I were shoveling some of that 24-inch snow off of our deck. I started thinking, we should have an electric deck so the snow would melt and we wouldn't have to shovel it. Sounds ridiculous. Actually, a little over 50 years ago, I was a student at Clarkson College in Potsdam, New York. It is north of the Adirondacks, about 15 miles from Canada, and it is cold. Niagara Mohawk Power was the local utility, and they had an office in Potsdam, which had an electric sidewalk in front of it. All winter, their sidewalk was clean and dry. You're probably thinking, that must have cost a fortune. Well, Niagara Mohawk got their power from Niagara Falls and the St. Lawrence Seaway, which was cheap hydropower. Fortunately for all of us, we get a portion of our power from these same two sources today, and it's still relatively cheap power, plus it's green power. We have another source of hydropower, the Racetown Dam in western Pennsylvania. We, along with the 13 co-ops in Pennsylvania, own it. Of course, our main source of power is the Susquehanna nuclear plant in Pennsylvania. Along with the 13 co-ops in Pennsylvania, we own 10% of the plant. While it is not considered green power, it is carbon-free, zero emissions. We also have 70 members with solar panels that contribute to our source of power, although that is just a tiny amount, less than 1%. The rest of our power, 33%, is purchased on the market. The source of that power can be pretty much anything from gas to nuclear to coal, or even wind. In an average year, about 15% of that power is carbon-free. That's where we are today. We do not buy any power from JCP&L. They transport power to us from the power generators. Back to my trivia question, what is the significance of 1.21 gigawatts? Well, according to Professor Emmett Brown, it is the amount of power required to make time travel possible. Back to the future, anyone? So what is the future of our power supply? After we lost our transmission from JCP&L, causing a system-wide outage in February, and what happened in Texas this winter, we want to make sure all of our sources of power are secure. The current administration in Washington is pushing green power. Coal plants have been phasing out for a number of years now and only produce 19% of the power in this country. Natural gas is much cleaner than coal, but still emits carbon. Our sources for the future of Sussex Rural's power are pretty much the same as today. The Susquehanna nuclear plants are scheduled to retire in 2042 and 2044. But there are already plans being considered to extend these another 20 years. We own the Racetown plant, and it would take an act of Congress to disrupt our hydropower from New York. 35% that we purchase will continue for the foreseeable future. We have full-time staff working in Harrisburg to secure contracts with power providers and to look at possibly purchasing a power plant or a portion of a power plant. Our power supply changes as these power providers change their generation. Gas and green energy will continue to replace coal for the next few years. We've also been working with JCP&L to ensure a transmission failure doesn't shut down our whole system like it did last winter. Our staff has been working with our engineers to make sure that backup transmission is not affected by primary transmission. Reliability and cost are our two most important priorities for you, our members. Normally, during our annual meeting, we announce our plans to return capital credits. The board is planning on returning capital credits again this year, but an exact amount hasn't yet been determined. The pandemic has us moving a little more cautiously this year, but we hope to make an announcement soon. Speaking of the pandemic, that is the primary story for 2020. It changed a lot of things for all of us last year. The co-op took aggressive steps to make sure our employees were safe and that we had the sources to continue to serve you without any decline in service. Our linemen were kept in separate crews, and most of our office employees worked from home. It was a big adjustment. We sympathize with those members who are struggling. If we can help you in any way, please call the office. I want to thank you for your interest in the co-op and hope you have a great summer. Thank you.